Tonight, President Donald J. Trump posting about capping credit card interest rates at 10%. A lot of people are asking the same question. Can he actually do that on his own? And the short answer is no, absolutely not. A president cannot unilaterally cap credit card interest rates. Those rates are governed by federal law and Congress. What a president can do is call for it publicly and push lawmakers to act. For a nationwide cap to happen, the House and Senate would have to pass a bill, and then the president could sign it into law. An executive order alone would almost certainly be challenged and struck down. That does not mean the issue is fake or unimportant. Credit card interest rates are historically high, and many families are struggling with debt. Many of you watching this right now. The post is best understood as a public policy proposal and a signal of priorities, not an immediate action. Now, whether you agree or disagree with the idea, the key point is this: real change here would require Congress to move. That's exactly what would have to happen.
Donald Trump is calling for a one-year credit card interest rate cap at 10%, and he just put that on Truth Social earlier today. And I think it's a setup. I think that this is Donald Trump working overtime to make you forget about them Epstein files. Because where them files at? We've been waiting, and we ain't heard nothing about them. We still waiting on the Epstein files. I don't want y'all to forget. They literally, shock and awe. That is what they are trying to do right now. They are trying to, no. Epstein files, immediately. Stop playing with us. You talking about a credit card interest rate cap at 10%. How are you going to make that happen? In the Truth Social post, I'm going to put it right here. It says, please be informed that we will no longer let the American people be ripped off by credit card companies that are charging interest rates of 20 to 30%. And even more when festered. Okay. This the affordability for me. It don't even talk about how he's going to make that happen. You are going to voluntarily get these financial institutions to say, yes, let's just cap our rates at 10%. For what? To make all of us use credit cards more for a year, and then the year after they can just make them surge and add whatever back on top of it and change their credit card rates the year after? Like Epstein files. Stop playing with us. It's like, oh, let me throw this bone so you guys forget about all the things that are going on right now. Try to make us believe whatever false narrative about Renee Good. Try to literally make us forget about Venezuela. Thanks for the cookie, but we got real things that we need for you to figure out. Now, this is not to say that this wouldn't be helpful. I don't want to get that confused. I want to just emphasize that if you are going to make your 1-year anniversary present to the American people be a 10% interest rate cap, you need to not be stopping federal funding for the whole state of Minnesota, because if you care about affordability, you would not be taking away people's food benefits, truthfully. We also lost over 1 million jobs last year. I think a real testament to affordability would be finding out what your plan is on fixing that while you're doing everything in any other country. How about actually focusing on true affordability and what the American people need, outside of just a 10% interest rate cap on credit cards to promote people to use more credit? Like, we want for the things that we can use with our own money to be able to afford the stuff with our own money, so we would need the jobs and the amount of money to live without having to need credit.
Price controls have come to America starting February 21st. Donald Trump is capping credit card interest rates at 10%. Credit card companies are usually making 20 to 30% interest. They've made billions of dollars. Not a lot of backlash on this because this is a very populist thing. Everyone's, hey, I'm going to pay less interest. Everyone's on board. The problem, this is the beginning of the end. I've said this in previous videos. Once they start instituting price controls, everything breaks down. Because what's going to happen now is these credit card companies aren't going to make money on the people that are paying and all the losses. So they're going to reduce the amount of money people can borrow, and they're going to cut people off completely. These people are then going to go to predatory lenders and pay even way more money. Because the traditional system of going to the bank and getting a business loans, that is dead. They will laugh at you at the bank. So everyone's relying on this credit card system to pay their bills and borrow money. And if this breaks down, it is going to fundamentally mess with the US economy. Why is Donald Trump doing this? He's preparing the US economy for wartime. let's be honest, they just increased the military budget from $1 trillion, which is already the largest in the world, to $1.5 trillion, a 50% increase. We just made a move on Venezuela. We're taking over that country, and Tehran is next on the chopping block. Why are we making these moves? Because we're going to cut China off of all its oil. It might have all the factories, but it's not going to have any energy to run those factories. And Trump knows there's going to be retaliation. Who knows what form this retaliation is? But the economy is going to be in uncertain times and turmoil, and he's making this so the American consumer and the economy can continue further. It's not the right move, in my opinion. So prepare yourself, and I think the best asset to own going forward is Bitcoin in these uncertain times.
Americans are being ripped off by credit card companies, being charged 20 to 30% on interest rates. DJT is calling for a temporary cap on credit card interest at 10% starting January 20th this year. This is why he's doing it. Researchers and supporters are saying a 10% cap could save consumers a large amount of money on interest, $100 billion a year. Banks and credit card companies are pushing back. They said if this is allowed, it could limit access to credit, especially with people with lower credit scores. The credit card debt in America. America carried a record high of credit card balances at $1.2 trillion. Marketing interest costs a major financial burden for many. What do y'all think?
Trump has done the unthinkable. He will be lowering credit card rates in America. Starting January 20th, all credit card companies will be forced to bring down their interest rates to 10%. This is one of the biggest changes in credit card history that will be slamming credit card companies in the face. And for someone like Trump to bring down credit card interest rates, this is unthinkable. Credit card companies will be losing billions of dollars, and Americans finally will not have the highest credit card debt in the history of mankind. American credit card debt right now is well over $1 trillion, which is slamming families in a cycle of debt that they will be paying off for the rest of their lives. Now, 10% interest is still very high. That kind of sucks, but that will be a lot better than the normal interest rates of 30%. Look, I have a good credit score. I got a credit card and the interest rate was near 30%. That's just not normal. But Trump is doing something good, and this will actually help a lot of Americans. Tell me your thoughts on this, and is this a win for Trump?
Now, a lot of people know how to use credit cards and take advantage of the benefits that credit cards offer. But it's also a lot of people that have no clue on how to use their credit cards, yet they own several. And credit card companies know this too. That's why the interest rates are so high that if you don't know how to use your credit card, you will find yourself in debt so fast it'll make your head spin. Now, Donald Trump is calling for a 10% cap on credit card interest rates for a year. He just made a post and said, "Be informed that we will no longer let the American public be ripped off by credit card companies that are charging 20 to 30%, and some even more." He said that's a ripoff, killing the American public. So he's calling for a 10% cap on all credit cards starting January the 20th, which just so happened make one successful year with the Trump administration. I don't know if this is helping or hurting. I don't even know if he's going to be able to pull this off, but we'll see. Even Bernie Sanders has something to say about that because Trump promised it before. And Bernie Sanders said he ain't come through. So I know a lot of people saying, Trump will never come through. Hey, we shall see. He came through with a lot of stuff that we said he wasn't going to come through. I'm not taking up for him. Just, remember I'm the messenger. But, so a lot of y'all, man, that's bound down in debt, man. If they can pull this off, this going to help a lot of people, man. Especially people who trying to, invest more, try to have extra money to do other things, you know what I'm saying? Instead, being swamp panties, high behind interest fees, man. So hopefully it come through, man. He said effective January 20th, 2026. So we'll see if he's going to pull it off. We don't know if he's going to pull, you know what I'm saying, an executive decision or what. We don't know. But we'll see what happens.
Breaking news. Last night, Donald Trump announced that he's going to demand credit card companies to cut credit interest down to 10%. Starting January 20th this year, that means in 10 days, credit card interest will be slashed to 10%. Average credit card right now is close to 27 to 30%. This would allow more Americans to attack and pay off their debt. Senator Elizabeth Warren said this is meaningless because there is no bill yet. Credit card companies have not responded yet since this just dropped last night, but bank advocates have said if they cut credit interest down to 10%, these companies will limit how much credit they loan out, which would push consumers toward higher cost alternatives. I think paying 30% interest in credit cards is already expensive as it is. Cross your fingers. Hopefully this does happen. I don't think it's going to happen by the 20th since there is no bill yet.
The key to finding good investments is when they've sold off, you know they've got ability to recover and a catalyst. So over the weekend, Donald Trump has put a 10% interest limit on credit card companies. So companies like Visa, American Express and other firms in the financial sector will probably have a decent sell-off due to the catalyst over the weekend and not any time to react to the news. So when you see companies like American Express, they have billions in capital, they have the infrastructure, and they will have the ability to recover from it long term.
So President Trump announced yesterday that he's putting a cap on credit card interest rates at 10% effective January 20th and lasting for 1 year. Do I think this is a good thing? I do. I think credit card companies have been predatory for many years, and I think that they are actually not a good, even though many people talk about it, many advertisements say, oh, you get cash back, oh, you get points, oh, you get airline miles, you get all this. Look, you can get those, but at the same time, we have $1.2 trillion in credit card debt, and 78% of Americans carry a balance each month. So the reason why people are struggling with credit card debt is because they've been sold this lie of, oh, if you do this, then you get this. Oh, if you do this, you get this. If everyone paid off their balance each month, there would be no rewards. There would be no airline miles. There would be no cash back. There would be none of that. And so I don't think this is actually going to curb any spending habits, but it might. We'll see. Personally, I haven't used a credit card in 6 years. I haven't made a payment for a credit card in 6 years, and I don't have any open lines of credit. You can do it. It's not easy, but it is doable. And if you use your credit card points or miles or whatever for trips or whatever, you can still go on those trips. You just have to do it more strategically when you're working with cash. And when you work with cash, you have a more financial peace of mind and understanding where all your money's going and budgeting every month. So I say get rid of the credit cards. I say even though the 10% cap is good, it might do some good in the long run, but in the end, you don't actually need credit cards. What you need to do is just work with the money that you make and balance it and budget it every single month.
So Donald Trump recently announced that he's going to put a 10% cap on interest rates for all credit cards. Now, I don't know if he's going to do this or not, but personally speaking, I am not a big fan of this for a few reasons. Number one, it's going to cut off credit card access to people who have lower credit scores. Why? Because when you cap your interest rate at 10%, it puts more risk on the credit card companies. When you swipe a credit card, the credit card company is actually paying the transaction on your behalf, and then you have to pay the credit card company back within 30 to 45 days. So the credit card company needs to have some sort of upside. And the upside is the 20 to 30% APR that they get if you don't pay off your balance. And then the other reason why I absolutely hate this is all the sign-up bonuses, perks that you get with some of these consumer credit cards. Those are either going to go away or they're going to significantly decrease the value of these benefits. Let's use American Express as an example. For fiscal year of 2024, roughly around 34% of their entire revenue was interest on revolving balances. So if you cap your interest rate at 10%, they're going to make less money. And these companies are not going to be okay with making less money. So what are they going to do to fix that problem? They're going to try to reduce their expenses. Sign-up bonuses, perks, those are all probably going to go away. And for responsible credit card users that enjoy these perks, well, that sucks for us. So we'll see if this happens or not and what the effects are. But again, I am not a big fan of this.
No, Trump cannot put a cap on credit card interest rates. He can't do it. He doesn't have the authority to do it. So let's talk about this for just a moment because it's all over the news right now. He sent out a tweet or Twitter or social truth, whatever you want to call it, and said, something to the effect on January 20th, he's capping all interest rates on credit cards at 10%. Okay, so that's why it's in the news. Here's why he can't do it. He needs congressional approval to pass a law like that, number one. Number two, you need a regulator to enforce it, and he's trying to shut down the regulator who does enforce the rules surrounding credit cards, which is the CFPB. And thirdly, a study found that it would be devastating for people because 90%, according to this study, 90% of the people who have credit cards would no longer have access to that credit because their credit scores are too low, because a credit card, at least an unsecured credit card, which is most of them, it's not collateralized, meaning the lender has a big risk by allowing us access to those credit lines. So just in basic terms, if let's say you get an auto loan and you don't make the payment on time, the lender can take your car, right? That's the collateral. So they can recuperate the loss, or at least some of it. So for the lender, the risk is less. So as a result, the interest rate on that loan will be less, assuming you have really good credit. Same thing with a home. If you don't make your mortgage payment on time, at a certain point, your home will be seized. It will be foreclosed upon. And then the bank will sell your home and recuperate some of the lost money. They can't do that with a credit card. So because they can't do it with a credit card, of course the interest rates are going to be higher. So keep this in mind when you hear that Trump might or is trying to put a cap on credit card interest rates. Number one, it's nonsense. He can't do it. Number two, the reason that the credit card interest rates are higher is because it is an unsecured debt and the risk is greater for the lender. But this is what's most important. You don't have to pay any credit card interest as long as you make your payments in full and on time. That's it. Is it hard for some people? Absolutely. I help clients all the time through credit card debt. We use a number of strategies. However, if you want to avoid paying interest on your credit card debt, make the payments in full and on time, and you won't pay interest. And I earned a perfect credit score multiple times by actually paying my credit card balances in full every day to keep my utilization rate close to 0%.